House Speaker Mike Johnson announced a new rule on Capitol Hill. If transgender men and women are going to use single-sex bathrooms or locker rooms, they must use the one that is reserved for, as he said, their biological sex. CBS's Scott McFarland reports from the Hill.
U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson today took aim at Democrat Sarah McBride, the first ever transgender member elected to Congress, with his decision to bar transgender people from using those Capitol complex bathrooms that do not align with their sex assigned at birth.
We have single-sex facilities for a reason.
McBride today said she didn't come to Washington to fight about bathrooms. South Carolina Republican Nancy Mace has led the charge to bar McBride from women's rooms here and does not acknowledge McBride is a woman. McBride spoke with CBS News Sunday morning in October.
And I can't believe I'm asking you this, but I'm going to. What bathrooms will you use when you're in the Capitol?
The bathrooms that I've used in the state Senate, the bathrooms that I use when I'm going out to dinner here in Wilmington, I'll continue to use the bathrooms that I've used for the last decade plus.
And that's the ladies' room.
Speaker Johnson has argued there are unisex bathrooms on the Capitol campus. Democrats blasted Johnson's decision.
What we should be doing is getting things done for the American people. Instead, we're worried about, who's using what toilet, and that's pretty ridiculous.
An association of LGBTQ congressional staffers issued a statement calling the new rule a direct affront to trans people. Sarah McBride becomes the newest member of Congress from Delaware.
All right, guys, so we got to follow up on the drama that is taking place on Capitol Hill involving bathrooms and whether or not transgender women should be allowed to use the women's restroom. Okay, Nancy Mace, who's a Republican congressman from South Carolina, said that she was uncomfortable with trans women using the women's bathroom in the Capitol. And hey, she says that it is something that should be banned, right? And Mike Johnson initially didn't really want to take on this issue, but now he has embraced the issue and he has come out and said, okay, cool, we're going to ban trans women from using the women's restroom, okay? And that if you are trans, you have to use either a unisex restroom or the restroom / locker room that aligns with your biological sex. Now, in my opinion, this is where most of the American people are, right? This should not be a controversial thing, but in 2024, it is controversial because Democrats just can't help themselves but to virtue signal on this issue, and that's exactly what AOC did in response to Mike Johnson coming out and essentially banning trans women from using the women's restroom. Take a look.
What Nancy Mace and what Speaker Johnson are doing are endangering all women and girls. Because if you ask them, what is your plan on how to enforce this? They won't come up with an answer. And what it inevitably results in are women and girls who are primed for assault because people are going to want to check their private parts in suspecting who is trans and who is cis and who's doing what. And so the idea that Nancy Mace wants little girls and women to drop trow in front of who? An investigator? Who would that be? In order because she wants to suspect and point fingers at who she thinks is trans is disgusting. It is disgusting. And frankly, all it does is allow these Republicans to go around and bully any woman who isn't wearing a skirt because they think she might not look woman enough. People have a right to express themselves, to dress how they want, and to be who they are. And if a woman doesn't look woman enough to a Republican, they want to be able to inspect her genitals to use a bathroom. It's disgusting. And everybody, no matter how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can make a buck and send a text and fundraise off an email. They're not doing this to protect people. They're endangering women. They're endangering girls of all kinds. And everybody should reject it. It's gross. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Democrats have lost on this issue, and they know they've lost on this issue, and this is why they have defaulted to this type of smear, because they know that the American people do not agree with them on this issue.
I spent a lot of time looking at every single data point that I could find on this topic. The overwhelming vast majority of the American people say that they believe You should use the restroom of your biological sex. If you were born a male, you should use the restroom with men, and vice versa for women. And so I think Republicans are in sync with where most of the American people are on this issue. And we saw that play out very well in this recent election.
So, yeah, AOC and Democrats are now making arguments in response to this ban about the implications of what will happen as a result of the ban that are completely unrealistic and hyperbolic, and also on top of that, just downright offensive. Okay, this is what Democrats do. They're not smart enough to realize that, hey, offending people just because they disagree with you and going as far as to claim that they want to check genitals because they're saying, hey, we want people to use the bathroom based off their biological sex. That's not a winning message. It's not a winning message. Because first and foremost, that's not happening, right? That's not happening. Nobody's going to be checking anybody's genitals, right? Genital checks are not happening. Because let's be realistic about how this ban will be enforced, since AOC seems to be confused about that. First and foremost, let's hope that any trans-identifying individual has enough respect for the rule to not break the rule, right? To say, hey, you know what? I'm going to use a unisex bathroom, or I'm going to use the bathroom that aligns with my biological sex, right? Let's hope they have enough respect to do that, okay? Respect the rule. But for those who don't want to respect the rules, okay, let's say, for example, Sarah McBride says, you know what? I'm going to use the women's restroom anyways, which, to Sarah's credit, Sarah is saying that Sarah's going to follow the rules, right? So credit to Sarah for following the rules, right? But if Sarah didn't want to follow the rules, first and foremost, everybody's going to know that Sarah is trans. So if Sarah uses the women's restroom, then everybody's going to know, okay, this person is breaking the rules, right? No genital checks needed, okay? Now, in the case of some ambiguous individual who, for example, is standing up to use the bathroom and the women's restroom, and, you know, there's some questions about what's going on, you know, hey, in the case of which a genital check would be needed, which again, I think would be extremely, extremely, extremely rare, right? It just honestly wouldn't be a thing. That's never happened, okay? Nobody's checking anybody's genitals. But if that actually happened, right, if that was actually needed, it would most likely be done by a medical professional. And society has accepted that it's okay for medical professionals to check genitals, right? Because medical professionals have been checking genitals for a long time now, and they're checking genitals all across the country. So again, that shouldn't be a controversial thing, even if a genital check was needed, as long as it's done by a medical professional. So again, what AOC is fear-mongering about here, it's just silly. Because one, it doesn't happen. There's no need for it. Okay, practically speaking, there won't be a need for it. And I just don't think that smearing the American people who agree with the bathroom ban as genital checkers is a good idea. And there's some Democrats who are smart enough to realize that this is not a winning message.
Let's take politics out of this. Just talk common sense for a second. Why is it so hard for Democrats not necessarily to agree that boys shouldn't be in girls' bathrooms or boys shouldn't be on girls' sports teams, but to not demonize those who do and say, look, maybe this is something where people have different opinions. Let's find common ground.
Well, look, my point is we need to have debates about these issues.
Right,
now,
that's
look,
what I'm saying. Why aren't
if you
Democrats
have, if you have that debate, let's start with the fact that, like, transgender people do exist, right? Okay. We're talking about transgender women on women's sports teams, for example. And we ought to be able to say, like, should there be restrictions? The Olympics has restrictions, right? So why is it, as you say, impossible for Democrats to even talk? Well, look, because we have become a party that focused so long on tolerance, we've become intolerant. Intolerant of views that are not in line with some sort of left-wing democratic orthodoxy of certain on litmus test issues. And so if you don't meet that litmus test, you're not even allowed to talk. And that's the problem. That's the issue. I didn't start this debate to become an expert on transgender issues. I'm not. I think there are medical professionals that should be deciding that.
But you are a father of girls, right?
I'm a father of girls, and I can speak honestly about, you know, when they're older, right? I'm not talking about them now. They play on co-ed soccer teams, right? I played on co-ed teams when I was their age. But when they get older, and there are real issues of competitive fairness and safety If you find
Let's
yourself
move away from-
competing on that, we should have
move away from
restrictions.
no, we should have the discussion. And I think you were right to point out that Democrats can't. But I've said on the program for a while, and it was Donald Trump's ad, Kamala's they, them, Donald Trump's for you.
Hugely effective.
Hugely effective.
Yep.
I have long argued that ad was a proxy for so much more, right? If you're not in for Ukraine aid, you're pro-Putin. If you're not in for BLM, you're racist. On and on and on. These sort of litmus test issues.
You're right. This is the point. And if Democrats see that you don't agree, then not only are you wrong, but you're a bad person.
Boom. Boom. And that's what's happening here. Republicans are essentially playing chess with the Democrats when it comes to this issue. Because remember, Democrats tried to avoid this issue during the election, right? They ran away from it, okay? The most staunch, far leftists on the social issues in the Democrat Party, right? The people who just a couple years ago were all in for this type of stuff, they ran away from the issue, okay? They flat out denied supporting a lot of this stuff. So now Republicans are calling their bluff after the election and saying, okay, bet. You're not woke? Oh, you don't agree with the far left on these issues? Okay, cool. What about this bathroom ban? And if Democrats were smart, if they were actually smart, they would understand what's happening, that the American people do not agree with them on this issue, and they will be quiet. They would say, okay, well, it is what it is. But, we're not going to stand against this. However, the Democrats right now, they are standing against it. They're doing exactly what the Republicans want them to do. They're standing against what the American people agree with. That's what Democrats are doing right now. That's what AOC is doing. And here's the thing. She's not even smart enough to realize it. She's not even smart to realize that, hey, right now, following this post-election loss where Democrats are trying to find a new identity, until you guys figure out who you want to be, you might not want to come out here and stand against the American people when it comes to how they feel about these social issues that you guys acknowledge were part of the reason why you lost the election. Now, again, some of these Democrats are in denial. They want to say, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with it because Democrats didn't run on wokeness. But again, everybody knows the Democrat Party's woke. Everybody knows this is what you actually believe. And Republicans are calling their bluff. They're saying, okay, oh, you didn't run on wokeness? Oh, y'all not woke? Okay, cool. Are you going to be for or against this bathroom ban? And lo and behold, Democrats are showing the world, no, yeah, we are far left, right? We are, okay, we are, right? So, hey, if that's what AOC wants to do, if AOC wants to smear anybody, again, a vast majority of American people, right, are in agreement with Republicans on this issue. If AOC thinks a good strategy is to smear a majority of the American people as genital checkers, right? People who want to check the genitals of little girls and women over this bathroom issue, fine, right? Cool. Keep saying that. Keep saying it. Because again, that is exactly why the Democrats lost in the first place. Demonizing people who disagree with them. Democrats have to learn the same lesson that Republicans learned on abortion. That, hey, when it comes to issues in which we don't have the majority support of the American people, right? Hey, we're going to have to moderate. We got to moderate. We got to try to come towards the middle. Otherwise, we're going to lose. And this is why you didn't see even the most staunch pro-federal abortion ban Republicans, which there are some out there, right? This is why they were quiet during the elections, right? This is why they didn't say much. Because they know that if they came out and they started advocating for this, then it would be a losing issue. They all knew that. But again, Democrats don't understand that, okay? They don't understand that when it comes to these far left social issues, that is their kryptonite, right? That's their kryptonite, that the American people do not agree with them on these issues. And as long as Democrats continue to show the country that, yes, they are in fact far left, and they continue to demonize people who don't agree with them, right? Which again is a vast majority of the American people when it comes to these social issues, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. And that's the reality. So, hey, AOC, keep saying that, right? Keep saying that a majority of the American people want to check genitals of women and little girls. Let's see how that actually benefits the Democrat Party, right? Let's see if that benefits the Democrat Party come to midterms. I don't think so, but hey, what do I know? I'm just some dude on the internet. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.